parks, schools, restaurants, and more, Assembly Row gets high scores. We're a thriving city with so much to do on Boston Harbor in our view. Politics, cannabis, controversial stories, heroes, villains, who gets the glory? 50 plus languages in Somerville is spoken. Sanctuary city, there are no free tokens. History in Somerville stays alive. In All-American City, we won 3 times. Somerville connects. Somerville connects. Welcome to another edition of Somerville Connects. What's your Somerville story? And Dead Air Live, the longest live running TV show in America. Welcome Emily Young, director and co-founder of the Okoa Project, and Nana from Ghana, the country director of the Okoa Project. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Thank you so much.
This is great. So Emily Young, what is the Okoa Project? And why do we have Nana from Ghana, it's unbelievable, here in my hometown of Somerville? Now I know you're from Cambridge, Mass. So tell us what the Okoa Project is, Emily.
Yeah, so the Okoa Project is a nonprofit that's focused on increasing access to healthcare in vulnerable communities. We were started to bring pregnant women to the hospital in a safer and faster way than the options that were available are. And we've been working in Tanzania for the past 4 years, and we recently expanded into Ghana. Just last year, we were able to launch our first pilot there this February. And so Nana is our country director.
That's a boatload. Now, when I met Nana in a living food class where we were learning how to make healthy foods. And that's how I met Nana. And then he shows us that he's working with the Okoa Project. And I have to tell you, I was blown away because we take so much for granted here in the United States. When we see ambulances just whizzing by, we think everybody has that, but not so much where you're from, right, Nana?
That's right.
So
I mean,
what do
it's
you
interesting.
tell us what you as a country director, explain a little bit more, because we don't have visuals about exactly what you do. All I know is that you have basically an ambulance that's on bicycle wheels with like a little transport buggy in the back where you take people to and from the hospital. Am I
That's
kind of
right.
explaining it right? Because it blows my mind. Tell us about that.
So the explanation is just about right. And it's interesting how you talk about how some people take the 911 system, the responsive 911 system for granted, because most people in the world don't have it. And ambulance experts say that a population of 55,000 or 50 to 55,000 people is supposed to be saved by one ambulance. And here is a situation where Ghana has a population of over 30 million people. And then until recently, the country had only 55 running ambulances. So that is devastating, meaning that one ambulance served over 250,000 people. So there is a huge gap which Okoa Project is trying to fill by connecting the rural communities to emergency medical services as well. I mean, it is unfortunate that a mother will carry a child for 9 months, and then on the day of delivery, because she can't get access to emergency transportation services, she loses her life and that of her child as well. So I think what Okoa is doing with the rural communities that are not accessible to four-wheeled vehicles as the traditional ambulance is designed, the four-wheeled vehicles, those communities that do not have roads that are accessible to these communities are those that we are looking at to connect them to the mainstream healthcare system.
So Nana, is this only for pregnant women? Your ambulance service, or is it accessible to everybody?
So it is not only for pregnant women, but then to injured patients and then the general public as well. So maybe Emily can speak more to that if she has anything more to add.
Yeah, so I think that what really started our organization was the concern about maternal health and safe childbirth. So that was always our motivating problem, as well as the design criteria that we used to make our ambulances. For example, we wanted to make sure that shaken baby syndrome couldn't happen on our ambulances. But as we developed this ambulance, we obviously realized how applicable it was to all emergency transportation uses. So now it will take anybody to the hospital, but we definitely, as an organization, have a very strong focus on maternal health.
Are your transport systems, are they motorized or do people pedal like a bicycle? How does it work?
Yeah, so they're motorized. What we wanted to do was be able to integrate these ambulances into existing structures. So we really wanted them to use motorcycles. Originally in Tanzania, we wanted them to integrate into the motorcycle taxi system. So it was a trailer that could attach to the back of any existing motorcycle, so that we could really leverage the existing infrastructure. In Ghana, we actually have a different ambulance design, and it's a completely motorized tricycle. So it's a three-wheeled vehicle, completely locally manufactured, but they are motorized. Yep.
And what is where the people where you put the people? What are the materials? Is it made of? Because it's very hot in Ghana, and I know that because it's being moved by a motorcycle, you could just carry so much weight. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking because sometimes these medical supplies can be very heavy. So what is it? What are the materials?
Yeah, so inside of our ambulance, it varies between the two models, but we do want to keep the inside of the ambulance pretty lean in terms of medical supplies, just because we can't always guarantee that there will be a medical provider that can attend to the patient. So in our ambulance in Tanzania, we have a birthing kit, a first aid kit, and then a spare parts kit. We found that one of the biggest issues of people actually making the decision to go to the hospital when they were pregnant was that they were afraid they were going to give birth along the way. So the birthing kit is actually not only helpful for medical reasons, but also emotional support along the way, knowing that if they do have to stop, there is a safe option. In Ghana, we're going to have more medical equipment because the ambulance itself is larger, and the local government health directorate has basically agreed to have a nurse accompany the patient, which is really a big step and very exciting for us. So we're going to have an IV drip on board, and we're looking to see what other light medical supplies we can put inside.
Okay. I'm going to ask Emily to kind of take over here because your voice is going in and out, and I want to make sure that we get this information out there. So Nana, please forgive me, but I'm going to have Emily review what you went over, if you don't mind. So Emily, if you don't mind, I would really love for you to tell us, if you can, what Nana was saying about, what goes on in Ghana. Because I'm thinking that, I don't know if you guys have ambulances already in Ghana or Tasmania. Am I saying the name right?
Tanzania. Yep.
Okay, I'm killing it, but
yeah. So to kind of go off of what Nana was saying, what he means by the 3 to 5 miles is that the way that the Ghanaian health system is set up, there are these compounds called CHIPS compounds. It stands for it's a community health center. And so they're very much like lower level medical capability health centers. There's 1 to 2 nurses that work there. There's 1 bed for giving childbirth, and some medication. But if you need any other type of medical services, you have to check in with the CHIPS compound and they'll refer you to the bigger hospital. And the
I
bigger
see.
hospital is usually about 2 to 3 hours away driving. So they're very far away and pretty inaccessible. To give you a story about a woman that we spoke to while we were in Ghana, just to kind of outline the problem a bit more. So there's a woman named Sahada, and she was 18 years old, and she told us about the first time that she had given birth to her son. And the way that she told the story is she was planning on giving birth at home, which is the more traditional way to do it. But then she had very intense labor pains and realized she needed to go to the hospital. She lived 2.5 hours away on a motorcycle from the closest hospital. So she realized what was happening and called a motorcycle in the area. She got on the motorcycle, but it was raining outside. It was the rainy season. And so they're driving on this 2.5 hour drive. And she actually, unfortunately, had a motorcycle accident where the wheels slipped because there's no traction on the mud. And so her and the driver had to get back on the motorcycle. They're covered in mud and had to go another hour. And she's straddling a motorcycle. She's having like contractions and needs to be in a maternity ward. So you can imagine this, even without the accident, is extremely painful. And she finally gets to the maternity ward. She walks in, she's covered in mud and water, and doesn't know if her baby's alive because of the accident. And she was able to safely give birth to her son in the maternity ward of this hospital. But obviously it was an extremely traumatic journey. And I think the crazy part about this story is that Sahada would actually fall under the category of lucky and successful births because she was able to deliver her boy without any health complications. And actually 830 women die every day due to preventable pregnancy complications. Worldwide.
Worldwide.
It's worldwide, but 90% of those deaths happen in developing countries such as Ghana. So it's very directly tied to the transportation issue. A lot of women won't even be able to get that motorcycle that Sahada took because there just aren't any options or they can't afford it. So I think that kind of can give you a little bit more perspective on the issue that we're trying to address. And the distance is definitely part of it, but also the affordability as well as the road conditions. There's a lot of factors that really set up that journey to the hospital to be very, very traumatic.
Emily, what is your passion? How did you get involved with this? Because you look very young. You look like you're a teenager, but I'm thinking that you aren't because you wouldn't be doing this. Well, how did you get involved with this? And what is your connection to Nana from Ghana? How did this all happen?
Yes. So the way that the Okoa Project started, I graduated from MIT 2 years ago, and during a class that I took there through a department called D-Lab, they basically connect students with organizations and companies abroad to work on development engineering projects. So I was in a class and we were connected with a Tanzanian NGO called the Olive Branch for Children. And they were the ones that brought this problem of getting pregnant women to the hospital to us as a group of students. So we worked on the project for a semester. It was extremely interesting. The partner was amazing and extremely informative about what they needed. And so then this group of students, we all decided that we wanted to take this a step further and find a way that we could actually build this in Tanzania with the partner and give them this ambulance that they had wanted. So we traveled to Tanzania and we were able to make this first prototype of this ambulance. But I think that really the thing that solidified it for me was the second time that we went, our goal was basically just to do interviews, like take a step back, really understand the problem. And we did over 500 interviews while we were there. And I think that hearing just repeated stories similar to that of Sahada and realizing that this low-cost ambulance really did give a solution, and it wasn't this crazy complicated solution, it was something that could be locally made. I think that's when I really personally decided that this was something I wanted to work on. And so at that point, we decided that this was going to be an actual company after we graduated.
This is unbelievable. You are amazing. And how did you find Nana from Ghana?
Yeah, so we were extremely lucky to find Nana. We had put out postings for intern practicums with Brandeis's Heller School. Nana applied, and I remember interviewing him. I was sitting on the floor of our house in Tanzania, and immediately I was like, this guy is going to take us so far in Ghana. Like, I just know based on his personality, he has so much drive. So he worked with us for 6 months during his master's program, and now he's our country director.
Well, I know Ghana from maybe I've spent a total of 12 to 15 hours. And I have to tell you, Nana from Ghana has a lot of heart and soul, and he's a funny guy. I mean, he makes people laugh. He's very personable, lots of warmth. So you got the right guy. You have the right man for sure.
We definitely feel that way as well.
Absolutely. So Nana, I'm going to try to take this back with you, and hopefully we can hear you. What is your driving passion? What motivates you to be involved with the Okoa Project?
I am very excited to be working with Okoa, and then I find the theme, the enthusiasm, the hard work, and then the dedication of the team very inspiring. And then that is one of the things that would make me continue to work with Okoa for a very long time. And the other thing being that the goal to expand across the country and then across the continent and other countries that has similar health care problems. I think it is very evident, especially in recent times, since the onslaughts of the coronavirus, that the world needs a robust healthcare system that is very responsive and then also very proactive. So I think Okoa finds itself at a very good position in healthcare systems, in the history of healthcare systems, that I believe we can make huge impacts in the next couple of years and beyond.
Beautiful. Emily, would you like to add anything to that?
I mean, I think Nana summed it up really well. And to kind of touch on the Ghana expansion point that he was making earlier, I think that the climate is right for us to really be able to make a big impact in Ghana and be able to expand very quickly. I think that kind of how Nana was saying, a lot of things have aligned very well for us to be able to really make a lot of ambulances and show how this type of emergency transportation system can really help improve and build out the larger healthcare system. And we hope to be able to use our work in Ghana as kind of a model for other countries as we look to expand further past just Ghana and Tanzania.
Are other countries doing what you're doing? Are you the first to implement this program?
Yeah, so sorry to cut you off, but there are a couple of similar types of companies and organizations that have made motorcycle ambulances. I think what's interesting is that while there are two companies that have been able to establish themselves. There is not a large universal or like company or organization that's making the ambulances as well as consulting on how to implement them. So what we end up seeing is that in the areas that we're working right now, there is not really a competitor. And in fact, there's not usually conventional ambulances in the areas that we work as well. We find that especially in the rural areas, governments won't want to drive their ambulances onto the roads where these people live because they're worried it's going to break down the vehicle. So they just don't respond to calls in these areas, and there aren't alternative vehicles. So I think that what we're doing, at least in the geographies that we are now, it's kind of like a market creating innovation, which has been very interesting to see it play out. The cost is another big reason that our ambulances can be more appealing. A conventional ambulance can cost $20,000. They can even end up costing far more than that if there's very advanced medical equipment on board. But our ambulances cost $2,000.
Oh my God, what a difference.
Significantly less.
Yeah. And how many, Nana, how many of your, by the way, is there a name for your vehicle? Is there like a certain name besides Okoa Project? Do you call your vehicle a certain name?
We call it the Okoa ambulance.
The Okoa ambulances. How many Okoa ambulances are in Ghana right now?
So currently we've manufactured 2, and we started manufacturing in February. It is because of the coronavirus. That's why we halted production. But then now that the government has the situation under control, and then soon we will be able to get back into manufacturing and then produce more ambulances. So, but then currently we have 2. We are hoping to make more in the coming months.
And Emily, where does the funding come from to build these Okoa ambulances?
Yeah, so we're a 501c3 nonprofit. So our funding comes from individual donations as well as grants. So if people that are watching are interested, you can always donate on our website. And
which is
okoaproject.com. And I think something that is just very impactful with donating to Okoa is that really $2,000 provides an entire ambulance for a community.
It's unbelievable.
So it really makes a very big difference.
And what is your goal in Ghana? How many of these Okoa ambulances do you want to build?
Should I take that?
Yep.
How many?
So as many as we can, but we are looking at expanding at district levels, and then there are 260 districts in Ghana. We are hoping to expand to at least 100 of the districts within the next 3 years. To expand to at least 100 of the districts within the next 3 years, and then each district would have within 5 to 10 ambulances per district.
So you're looking for 200 to 500 of these ambulances.
Exactly. Yes.
So 500 times 2,000 is that 100? No, that's more. Is that $1 million or 100,000?
1 million.
It's $1 million. That's not a lot to supply all the ambulances
For a whole country,
just need
probably.
someone who has a big heart in the United States. And how many people are now working under you in Ghana, Nana?
So officially, we haven't employed anybody, but then with our partnership with the Virtue Foundation, we have not less than 5 to 10 people directly and then indirectly being employed under the project. And that is, we manufacturing just a few. If we are manufacturing more, we will be employing more, and then we'll be creating more capacity building in the communities that we work with.
And the people that ride these ambulances, the Okoa ambulance, do they have to pay for this, or is this something that, because it's a nonprofit, you just help them out? I mean, how does this all work?
So we 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 manufacture the ambulances along with programs to run it, and that is usually based on the partnership that we have with the other organization.
So I guess a bit more background on our partner. The Virtue Foundation is a group that's been working in the northern regions of Ghana for the past 10 years. And they actually piloted a motorcycle ambulance project 2 years ago. So we came in to work with them this past year as someone that could make a sustainable manufacturing plan and really work together to make a sustainable motorcycle ambulance program that could expand across the country. So they've been working with the communities and the local government level to set up a healthcare committee that basically oversees these ambulances. And right now the plan is to expand that implementation method. So basically it's run by elders in the communities. They will have people from the CHIPS compounds on these committees, and people pay into an evergreen fund that's started by the elders, where it's almost like a community insurance pool. So you pay into it, and it basically makes it so the gas money and paying the driver comes from that pool whenever the ride is necessary. So there's never a shortage of funds to make it happen. And so we've seen that as a really successful implementation method. In Tanzania, our partner prefers that the ambulance service is paid for in the beginning, and then we are trying to actually have a implementation method more similar to what's happening in Ghana moving forward.
This is unbelievable. And how many people do you have here working? I'm not sure if your foundation is, or your nonprofit is in Cambridge or Boston.
So our office is in Boston. We're working out of the Autodesk Technology Center down in the Seaport.
And you say we, how many are there in your organization?
Yeah, so there's about 9 to 10 volunteers and employees combined. There's 3 paid employees and the rest are volunteer. And then we also have our board.
Beautiful. And would you like to say anything to our viewers to get them involved with your project? We'll start with you, Nana. What would you like to say to the people here in America and Ghana? Nana. I love it. It's so rhythmic.
It always works. So I would say that one thing that we mentioned earlier is the fact that people take advantage of the 911 system, and then how responsive the 911 system is, and forget about the fact that it is not like that in most parts of the world. So as we have dedicated our time and then sacrificed most of our activities to help improve these areas of the healthcare system, I believe if somebody is watching and then is touched to support us with our work to provide communities. I mean, if $2,000 can provide an ambulance to serve a whole community of over 55,000 people, then I believe people can support in every little way that they can to help us advance our project and then expand across many regions. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. Emily?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that Nana said. I think that it's obviously a difficult time for everybody right now. But I think especially as we move forward throughout the pandemic, thinking about the countries that have healthcare systems that are not as well equipped to deal with this type of outbreak, just as a bit of numerical context, the amount of ventilators in the United States there's about 200,000, but there are about 2,000 ventilators across the continent of Africa. So I think when you think about what could happen if this spreads, in somewhere like Ghana, it's very, very horrifying and sad. One of the things that we've been working on recently is our own coronavirus response to stop the spread in the areas that we're working. So we've been able to work with our local engineers and technicians to make hand washing stations. One of the things that we also take for granted is that we can turn on the sink and wash our hands, but if you don't have running water, that is not that easy. So if you think about how quickly the disease could spread in areas where people can't wash their hands, I think that can give more perspective onto how bad it could be. So right now we actually have an active fundraising campaign to make these hand washing stations. You can buy one for just $25. It's an extremely reasonable price. And that would provide community with the ability to wash their hands and prevent the spread. So hopefully we don't have to get to the reactive measures.
$25 for a hand washing station.
It's $25.
That's nothing.
Yeah. So I think that, like I said, even though it's also very difficult here, being able to just put in that $25 that might have gone to your T-Pass is something that really can make a huge difference. And for people that want to stay updated and involved, definitely check out our website at theokoaproject.com. We're having virtual events and speaker series to keep people up to date about what we're doing. And I hope that everyone was interested and inspired by our work.
Well, I'm very excited to share this with the world, and I want to thank you, Emily Young, director and co-founder of the Okoa Project, and Nana from Ghana, the country director of the Okoa Project. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Somerville Connects and Dead Air Live. Bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgie.
Somerville connects. Somerville connects.
Of over 55,000 people, then I believe people can support in every little way that they can to help us advance our project and then expand across many regions.